Now, the company stock is something we want to look at, the impact on the stock price. It traded lower right away since the news came down. Let's bring Doug Flynn in, Flynn Zito Capital Management. And then you start to say, as a company, how do you handle a situation like this? Remember the old Tylenol, everyone used to use an example, crisis management and, prevent it from kind of spiraling, right?
Yeah, and Chipotle is the one that everyone keeps pointing to now about this one, although that was a much more widespread and a different problem. That one had to do with the training of their personnel and handling. This is really seemingly isolated to one distribution center for just one product. So, I think the lessons that we always learn in this are to get out right in front of it, attack it, don't make excuses, just take it and deal with it, get it behind you, and let it be known that things happen. And they did move to some fresh beef. It sounds interesting that McDonald's maybe wasn't using as much fresh beef as it had been, and so they ramped that up. And the fresher you go with food, the more problems can creep in versus everything being frozen. So some of this might have to do with that. But it seems like so far, as long as it remains isolated, it won't turn into a Chipotle situation.
Containing it, right? Yeah, you're right. I mean, like if they're using fresh beef now, it's like, well, what were they using before? But nobody's expecting McDonald's to be a health food store either. But, and that said, nobody wants to go to the hospital and get sick. So it's like as a person, you look at this, you see a quick headline, you say, you know what, I'll go to Burger King. So that's the risk business-wise for McDonald's.
And as a company, they always toy with, how much in terms of profits versus getting fresher on the menu, and that's sort of a decision they have to make. And they did try to ramp up the quality of the food. So sometimes this can happen.
Oh, and they make when they used to bring that McRib back, you never know. E. coli would be the worst of would be the least of your problems. No, I'm just kidding.
Really?
I love the way that thing tasted. Okay, now let's. This news just came in from Tesla, so I want to just get a reaction from you because it's surprising. They had an increase in net profit in the third quarter, and it's the first time since their earnings started to slide, earlier this year. They cut their prices, their sales promotions, but now the profit did increase. It was over $2.2 billion. So I guess on the surface, I just looked at it quickly. This looks like a pretty good number for Tesla, a company that's been through it here for a while.
Yeah, and if you look aftermarket, you can see the sort of precursor to what's coming, and the stock jumped a bit after that based on this news. And that is part of what they've been doing the last couple of years, has been dropping the cost, dropping the cost. And if you talk to any Tesla owner, they're probably upside down on what they owe because of dropping the cost, the value of their old vehicles, if they own them, is not worth anywhere near where they thought it was going to be. But at some point, you hit the point where offsetting those lower costs, you kind of stabilize that, and now you can turn that into profits and kind of grow from there. And it seems like maybe that has turned the case, and maybe the outlook is better from here, which is why I think the market and the stock has priced up a little bit. People are anticipating that maybe that time has come. We don't know that yet, but that's what it looks like.
Do you think Elon Musk's politics have had any impact, positive or negative, on especially this company that's so well known and associated with him?
I don't know how much it's really impacted. I mean, there is a lot more competition to electric vehicles, certainly overseas and in China and whatnot. I don't know how much it's really worked into. And maybe a bit on Tesla. Some people are like, now they're never going to buy a Tesla. I get that, but it's not like you're going to go to SpaceX.
I guess
marketing is like, as much as you push away, you attract, and so sometimes that can benefit you more than it hurts you. But I also think about what's the competition for SpaceX? NASA? We know how that's going to go. So there's other companies that he runs that there is no competition for. But as far as this guy, Starlink and what they're doing now, I mean, he's got all Neuralink and all these things, which are amazing. But on a car front, listen, cars are a tough business, and we'll see. And I always think about, he hasn't spent a dime on advertising. Think about the billions that these car companies spend. He has that much of an advantage before all the other companies, because he doesn't advertise, and at least hasn't yet. We'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting. And now this is like a 17% gain year over year in earnings. And as you say, the stock popped a little bit after hours. Thank you, Doug. We'll talk to you soon. Doug Flynn there.